We are all by now aware of the Russian invasion over Ukraine and a series of attacks that sparked some of the most intense conflicts globally in decades. With tensions rising ever higher, companies and countries around the world are breaking ties with Russia in space. Elon Musk's SpaceX was also assisting Ukraine by delivering high-speed internet from its Starlink satellite constellation, following a request from Ukraine's Vice Prime Minister. So, what are your thoughts? Could SpaceX truly supplant Russia in space? Let me know in the comments. So welcome to the channel, you all. We are back with another interesting video. Here today, we're going to tell you SpaceX Dragon's crew humiliated Russia's Soyuz. Let's get into the video right away. SpaceX recently activated Starlink internet services in Ukraine, showing support for the nation under attack. With the company already taking astronauts to and from the International Space Station, reducing NASA's dependence on Russian Soyuz rides, it seems more possible than ever that SpaceX could fully replace the need for Russia's Soyuz capsule from the ISS. The International Space Station was first proposed by President Ronald Reagan in his 1984 State of the Union address. In the wake of the Soviet Union's collapse, Russia joined the station project under the Clinton administration, helping design and build the largest structure ever assembled in space. 107 piloted station missions have been launched to date, including 66 Russian Soyuz crew rotation flights, 37 Space Shuttle assembly missions, 4 SpaceX Crew Dragon astronaut ferry flights, 80 unpiloted Russian Progress cargo flights, and 55 U.S., European, and Japanese supply ships. The station features 16 pressurized modules, including 7 provided by NASA, 1 by ESA, and 2 from the Japanese Space Agency. The Russian segment is made up of the Zarya and Zvezda modules, 2 docking compartments, a newly arrived lab module, and the Pritchel docking port. The ISS has been in orbit for more than 21 years. Its current occupants include 4 NASA astronauts, 2 Russian cosmonauts, and Matthias Maurer from the European Space Agency. The ISS is due to be decommissioned in 2030, with current plans involving a controlled deorbit over the Pacific Ocean. Russia provides the propellant and thrusters needed to keep the station in orbit and to eventually guide the huge lab back into the atmosphere for a safe, targeted re-entry and breakup at the end of its life. The United States provides the powerful gyro devices used to maintain the lab's orientation and supplies the lion's share of the station's electrical power. While the space station continues to operate in near-normal fashion for now, the Russians have terminated the commercial Soyuz launch operations at the European Space Agency's launch site in Kourou, French Guiana, and cut off sales and support for Russian rocket engines used in U.S. rockets. If Russia's involvement in the orbiting laboratory was to end before then, Elon Musk hinted that the Russian segment could be replaced by a SpaceX Dragon that could provide reboost capability and altitude control. But the cancellation of Soyuz flights, if it remains in force, would mark a major setback for a company that reorganized in the wake of bankruptcy, attracting major investments from the United Kingdom. So where does SpaceX fit in as international partners disconnect from Russia? Could SpaceX really replace Russia in space? In 2014, NASA contracted SpaceX and Boeing through its Commercial Crew program to build capsules that could ferry astronauts to the space station and back. While Boeing's Starliner is yet to fly a crew, SpaceX's Crew Dragon has flown numerous astronaut crews to and from the orbiting lab successfully. This partnership was created by NASA with the explicit purpose of decreasing NASA's reliance on Russia's Soyuz capsules, which was the agency's only vehicle to the station after the Space Shuttle program closed in 2011. SpaceX Dragon capsules presumably could provide reboost capability as well, although additional launches of both spacecraft at additional cost would be required to make that happen, and it's not known how long it might take to implement any such plans. One question that might occur to you is, what is so special about the SpaceX Dragon crew that makes it better than Russian Soyuz? Elon Musk's SpaceX has built the Crew Dragon primarily to carry astronauts to the International Space Station. It was developed as part of NASA's plan to hand over space station flights to American companies after years of relying on Russian launches. Elon Musk says human spaceflight has always been the fundamental goal for his developing company, SpaceX. Dragon Crew has made SpaceX the first private company to launch humans into orbit, something previously accomplished by only the government space agencies from the United States, Russia, and China. When the shuttle program ended, NASA had no immediate replacement vehicle. This left the space agency reliant on Russia to fly American astronauts to the ISS. In the meantime, however, SpaceX and Boeing worked on developing vehicles to take over that job. Musk's vehicle evolved from an earlier spacecraft called Dragon 1, which has launched 20 times on missions to deliver cargo to the ISS. The launch is only possible thanks to painstakingly designed hardware and software. With its sleek design and growing reputation, anticipation for the first launch of SpaceX's Crew Dragon spaceship with astronauts on board continues to build. Crew Dragon is a passenger version of the company's robotic Dragon cargo ship, and SpaceX plans to use the craft to send astronauts to the International Space Station for NASA. Ultimately, the company hopes to use the craft to send humans to Mars. Let's get a brief overview of Crew Dragon design. In May 2014, Musk unveiled the 7-seat Crew Dragon concept during an event at SpaceX's headquarters in Hawthorne, California. It's a capsule design, like the Apollo command modules that carried astronauts to the moon. From launch up until shortly before re-entry, the capsule is attached to a section called the trunk, which has solar panels, heat removal radiators, space for cargo, and fins to provide stability during emergency aborts. Together, the capsule and trunk stand around 8.1 meters or 26.7 feet tall with a diameter of 4 meters or 13 feet. The Crew Dragon is equipped with 16 Draco thrusters that maneuver the vehicle in orbit. Each Draco is capable of producing 90 pounds of force in the vacuum of space. If anything goes wrong during liftoff, the capsule has a launch escape system, or LES, consisting of 8 Super Draco engines that each produce 16,000 pounds of force. The LES quickly separates Crew Dragon from its rocket. There are 3 large touchscreen displays in Dragon Crew that allow the commander and pilot to monitor and control the spacecraft, a world away from the analog buttons and dials in the cockpits of previous vehicles, such as the Space Shuttle. The spacesuits worn by astronauts have been one of the bigger talking points about Crew Dragon. The sleek, customized outfits contrast with previous designs, but their main purpose remains the same: to protect crew members from depressurization, where air is lost from the capsule. SpaceX spent almost 4 years designing their crew suits. The spacesuit is custom made for each astronaut and hand-assembled at their rocket fabrication lab in California. The suits are a part of the One Dragon system. The suit connects to the seat via an umbilical cord that hooks up avionics, air, and gas exchange. Every metric can be monitored and visualized in real time. Suit gloves are touchscreen enabled, allowing astronauts to interact intuitively with Dragon's modern cockpit. Now SpaceX is poised at Kennedy Space Center's iconic Launch Pad 39A, the location where man first took off for the moon, to launch its first humans into space. The world watches, inspired and on edge. SpaceX may after all prove to be the spark that ignites blasts of creativity and passion that fuel the next generation of space exploration. SpaceX wants a voyage in Crew Dragon to be an enjoyable experience for its passengers. It has 4 windows and a sleek digital display that will show information ranging from where the craft is in space to information about the environment inside the capsule. Crew members can monitor the interior environment with an environmental control and life support system, and they can set the onboard temperature between 65 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit. The Crew Dragon lifted off in 2020 from Florida's Kennedy Space Center on a version of SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket that's been adapted for astronauts. In the event of an emergency on the pad or during the climb to orbit, the launch escape system will fire to propel the capsule and its crew away from the rocket. Parachutes are then deployed to bring the astronauts down safely. The capsule design is safer than a winged vehicle under most circumstances. Crew Dragon is also designed to be a 2-fault tolerant. This means that any 2 things can fail, such as a flight computer and a thruster, and the spacecraft can still bring the crew home safely. During missions to the ISS, the SpaceX vehicle docks with the orbiting outpost autonomously. That is, without having to be guided in by a human. When astronauts are ready to return home from the space station, Crew Dragon first undocks and then performs a de-orbit burn with its thrusters. The vehicle's heat shield, located at its base, must survive temperatures hotter than the surface of the sun as the craft screams through the atmosphere at up to 25 times the speed of sound. The material used in the heat shield is ablative. It slowly burns away at high temperatures to carry away much of the extreme heat. Finally, the Crew Dragon splashes down in the Atlantic Ocean, 450 kilometers off the coast of Florida, where recovery ships will take the astronauts to safety and retrieve the capsule. The spacecraft can then be refurbished. NASA has agreed to let astronauts fly on reused Crew Dragons and Falcon 9 boosters as soon as SpaceX completes its third launch to the ISS with humans. The world is constantly a changing place. Nobody's dominance stays forever. Ultimately, it fades away. With SpaceX having its own Dragon crew, it could replace the Russian Soyuz in the upcoming times. Alright everyone, this brings us to the end of our video. If you liked the video, be sure to hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell to stay updated.